Welcome to today's deep dive. Our mission today is cutting right through the noise of financial overwhelm, specifically when you are staring down a massive life event.
Right, trying to build wealth without losing your mind in the process.
Exactly. We are pulling from a really comprehensive guide on the must-haves versus nice-to-haves budgeting framework. And we're going to look at it through the highly emotional lens of the wedding and bridal industry.
It's really the perfect stress test for this framework because when you're dealing with major life milestones, the traditional lines between what you actually need and what you simply want become incredibly blurred.
Totally.
So the source material outlines a foundational strategy to take the guesswork out of your cash flow before that panic happens.
And to be clear right up front, managing your finances intentionally does not mean living on rice and beans.
No, definitely not.
It doesn't mean eliminating all the fun from your life. It is simply about directing your capital where it actually serves you. So, okay, let's unpack this because we all know the basics. You don't need us to tell you that your rent is a need and your premium streaming service is a want.
Exactly. The framework assumes you know the difference between basic survival and comfort. What's fascinating here is the psychological trap the guide points out. It's cognitive dissonance.
Right.
Under pressure, people systematically mislabel their lifestyle upgrades as absolute non-negotiable needs.
Which brings us to the famous 50-30-20 rule from the source. The idea of capping your needs at 50% of your income. Then allocating 30% to wants and 20% to savings and investments.
It makes sense on paper.
Yeah, I understand the math on paper, but
Yeah.
honestly, trying to cap needs at 50% feels almost comical when you're planning a modern wedding. I mean, a single venue can easily eat up a year's salary.
It really can.
So here's where it gets really interesting. How does a standard framework survive an industry that is quite literally designed to upsell you?
It survives by forcing you to define your boundaries before the emotions take over.
Right before the wedding fever sets in.
Exactly. Weddings are a massive psychological hurdle. A basic photographer to document the day. That is a core must-have.
Sure.
But a luxury drone package with a same-day edit? That is a nice-to-have. The core elements, the venue, the catering, standard photography, your attire, those are your true needs to make the event happen. Everything else is a stylistic upgrade.
You know, I was reading through these categories and immediately thought of a friend's recent wedding. She started out with a very reasonable, modest floral budget.
Let me guess, social media happened.
Yes. After months of scrolling, she was entirely convinced that a massive suspended ceiling floral installation was a non-negotiable necessity for her guests to enjoy their dinner.
Wow.
Yeah, she completely mislabeled a luxury as a survival need for the event.
And that is exactly how budgets spiral into debt. The framework is designed to protect your core event from what the source identifies as spending leaks.
Branding leaks.
Yeah, these aren't just the obvious big-ticket splurges. Spending leaks are incredibly quiet. They are the accumulated weight of 3 unused subscriptions, or those rapid-fire impulse buys that slowly hemorrhage your savings over time, pulling vital resources away from your actual must-haves.
So what does this all mean? We can't just rely on mental math to catch these leaks when our brains are actively trying to trick us into buying things.
It means you have to automate your awareness. You need
Yeah.
to use digital tools and budgeting apps that track these categories for you automatically. It forces you to confront whether an expense is foundational or a stylistic upgrade.
Right.
For example, if you look at how things are structured on platforms like the Weddizer website, which the source actually nods to, you can use Weddizer's website for managing finances and selection purposes.
Like finding the right vendors.
Exactly. You can find the best places for wedding events and get guidance through the articles section on the website related to the niche. Their tagging system naturally separates those foundational vendor costs from the luxury upgrades.
Oh, that's brilliant. It forces a moment of friction.
It really does.
It makes you pause and actively tag a purchase, which aligns your daily spending back to your actual life goals. The ultimate takeaway for you listening today is that clearly categorizing your spending is not about restricting yourself. It is the ultimate shortcut to reducing financial stress and gaining total control over your cash flow.
If we connect this to the bigger picture, this entire framework is really just about mindfully choosing your luxuries. When you prioritize the essentials and plug those quiet spending leaks, you actually get to enjoy your nice-to-haves completely guilt-free.
Without the morning after panic.
Precisely.
Guilt-free luxury. Now that is a financial plan I can get behind. We will leave you with this final provocative thought to ponder on your own. If a total stranger looked exclusively at your nice-to-have purchases from the last 30 days, what would they assume your biggest life goals actually are? And more importantly, does that assumption reflect what you truly want?